The Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast, and here is your host, Elliot J. O'Neill. Welcome to The Simpsons Index, episode 12. I am your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and joining me is...
BT Calloway.
And today we have a very new guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Phil Calloway. Hello.
Hello, Phil Calloway. Good to have you here.
Good to be here. My first ever podcast.
First ever.
First ever on anything for any subject whatsoever.
Oh,
So,
I'll be gentle.
please do. I didn't bring the lube.
Well, that's why we drink first.
Yeah, I make sure I get you nice and
explains.
sauced up first.
Not where I thought that was going, but there you are.
Yeah, you'll find that. Welcome to podcasting.
So yeah, with every new guest, what I like to do is just ask, what's your Simpsons history? Do you remember when the show first came along and where you were, how it impacted your life? Tell me about The Simpsons and you, Phil.
Well, I think where it started for me was in the TV. I would have watched the first episode, God, a long time ago now. It would have been like 90s, maybe even mid-90s. I think I was pretty much would have seen the first season, I think, when it came on air. And I've watched it sporadically, or religiously for the first probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And then sporadically since then. I haven't seen a lot of the last probably 10 years worth of episodes, but I can quote a hell of a lot Simpsons trivia from the golden age.
Yes.
Yeah. It's something we think this podcast is preparing us for, is that time when society crumbles and we all just speak in Simpsons quotes.
Yeah.
There'll be those who can speak and those who can't, and, well, evolution will take its course.
Excellent.
And so, yeah, I know Phil through Beej, and we all worked together on the web series Dave Plus One last year. And so, yeah, this is the first time we've worked together since then.
Mate,
This should be fun.
I like that there's no cameras, lights, or really script. It's a lot easier.
Oh, absolutely. Unscripted. We're in the dark.
Yeah, doing this, I understand reality TV a lot more.
So anyway, we just watched season 5, episode 15, Deep Space Homer. Guys, what did you think?
Yep, still great.
Still excellent.
Yeah, after all these years. Do we even have to explain what it's about? It's the one where Homer goes to space.
Yeah, that's another one that can be summarized in a tweet.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, luckily. But yeah. It's I do remember seeing this first time on TV, loving
Yeah.
it then. It's lost none of its appeal. There's a couple of jokes that are a touch outdated, but
Yeah, the what's on TV at the time, and they cut to Home Improvement and the old show that Ed O'Neill was on. Now he's back on TV looking about 22 years older.
The old show that the voice of Lulu from Futurama was on.
Oh, that's right.
oh yeah, of
It's
course.
double strength old.
And also Sons of Anarchy.
Well,
Yeah, that's right. Man, she's been outdated by
twice.
Yeah,
By
wow.
herself.
Yeah, but I guess those moments won't be go over so well with the new crowd. Like, who the hell is this guy? Why did he just run through that dude in the fence?
Why is he going?
Guys, there was TV before you were alive. Some of it was okay, some of it wasn't.
Some of it was Home Improvement.
Look, I watched a lot of episodes of Home Improvement in my
Yeah.
life.
It's
I loved it. It's my introduction to Pamela Anderson, so thank you very much for that.
That and not Baywatch.
Because that was first.
Oh,
of all.
she was.
Yeah,
She was the
pre-Baywatch.
Yep.
I'm sure that could be proven wrong.
I liked her replacement more anyway. So.
Yeah, I think everyone did. Well, it depends on if you're a brunette or a blonde
Which
type
is
of fella.
maybe that's what I realized.
Yeah, that's right. This girl is slightly more attractive than Pamela Anderson, who I know is scientifically attractive. Ergo, I must be
Well,
brunette.
she was like 90s hot, and I was never into 90s hot. It was a weird.
There were some high-waisted bikinis.
Yeah, blonde hair with the root showing. Also, you were about 6 then, so you shouldn't have been
I was
in.
still discovering who I was.
Yeah, right.
Damn it.
Homer in space indeed.
In this crazy topsy-turvy world.
And so, yeah, season 5. So this probably aired in Australia about 1995. I do remember watching this for the first time and VHS taping it and watching it a million times over and, yeah, singing along, da-da-da-da-da.
Yep, very familiar.
That bit is so awesome. Like, just such a good bit of animation. I wouldn't be surprised if they spent a whole year on that one segment.
It is, and then when he's spinning to catch the last one, the slow down, he's trying to stop and crashes into the ant farm, and it's a beautiful cinematic moment.
Yeah, very good homage to the whole 2001 trope that they touch on quite a few times.
That was the thing I definitely didn't get at the time, was all the 2001 references.
Yeah, I still don't get it.
Space Baby at the end. Well, that's because you haven't watched any movies, and I'm pretty sure 2001 is on your not watched list.
Yeah, gotta watch 2001.
Yeah, and important to have watched 2001 to get 2001 references.
Yeah.
It is. It's the catch-22 of 2001.
But that's the thing. But between the Simpsons, I think I've seen the whole movie. Like there was a bunch of it there, and then
There's
there
the
was
one where
monkeys and the
Yeah, I remember.
and then there's that Futurama episode where their like version of Hal takes over the Planet Express ship. So I've seen it. Lay off, guys.
In a sense.
So yeah, what other 2001 references did I miss?
Not so much 2001, but I mean, yeah, Planet of the Apes, you know that one. But again, did I know that when I was 10? Probably not.
No.
The Right Stuff, right at the very end.
What's the right stuff?
It's just a movie about space travel. But
really?
at the end of the
No,
episode,
it's a movie about astronauts,
Yeah,
and when they seek, it's almost a parody, not a parody. It was almost original to this, where they seek the bravest, dangerous, most risk-takingest pilots in all of the world to be the next astronauts.
Yeah.
And that's actually where the slow walk of 4 people across camera walking across the
Across the walkway.
yeah, that's a Right Stuff reference as well.
And I was specifically thinking of the bit at the end where he goes, "Yeah, I really have the right." What's that stuff?
Oh, I thought that was just a Homer's dumb joke.
That's what's great about these episodes is if you don't get it, it's still funny.
Yeah.
But when you do, it's like, oh, you sons of bitches.
Man, go the subtle references. So yeah, just talking about the story as well. Just an A plot in this one, no B plot or anything. Just Homer complains to NASA that there's too many boring space launches on TV.
Not even before that, you've got Homer feeling he's not worth anything.
Yeah,
Because
his
the
inadequacy.
nuclear power plant recognizes an inanimate carbon rod as employee of the year before it recognizes him.
Yeah, the A plot is Homer doesn't feel respect at work or at home, and this is a way thrust upon him that he can gain respect. I think the B plot is the inanimate carbon rod.
Yeah.
How good is he?
Oh, just
He gets 2 medals in this episode.
Stole the show.
ticker tape parade and everything.
Man, that was so good how they brought it back at the end. And,
I know.
And I do have some vague recollections of thinking at the time, oh my god, that rod's green as well. I wonder, yep, they did it.
They do. Yeah, they obviously allude to that. But it's a bit that I really liked in the beginning when they're like, Mr. Burns gives employee of the month the inanimate carbon rod, and everyone just goes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the ones that Homer just complained to about. Still not getting a worker of the week.
Yeah, I think traditionally there's not a lot of the sympathy from Lenny and Carl almost ever.
Yeah.
But when we were looking at choosing this episode and I read the brief synopsis of what it was, the one joke that stuck in my mind from 20 years ago is when Barney drinks the champagne after being declared the winner, jetpacks his way out of NASA, then lands on top of a pillow factory, falls off, lands on the road and gets run over by a marshmallow truck. Like, that's such an amazingly backwards reference to everything. And I was like, that's the first thing I remembered straight away. It's like such a great way. And you can't say that verbally. It doesn't work as a...
no, you have to watch it play out in all its ill-fated glory.
Yeah, it's what I like to call an unstealable Simpsons joke, because you can't reference it apart from explaining that entire section.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole episode and everything. Yeah, you need that entire lead in.
And yeah, Barney's whole little thing there as well. That's great, where like Barney just ends up going along with this trip because Homer thought he was in trouble. So
well, he was also knocked unconscious at the bar.
Yeah, true.
Have a lot of choice.
He didn't need to do that. They wanted to come.
I know.
But yeah, even how they invite him. Do you want to get higher than you've ever been before?
Be an astronaut? Sure.
Actually, I wrote that down as a great little gag. There's like that would be anyone's first assumption
none
ever.
of them are wearing NASA logos or anything. He immediately knows, oh, I'll be an astronaut.
And yeah, you really feel for Barney because he's really doing well at space camp and off the alcohol, and then then one little bit of non-alcoholic champagne.
I also noticed is this after Cape Fear, the episode Cape Fear?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is their second HMS Pinafore reference.
Oh, really? Oh, the American Medal.
Their second what?
HMS Pinafore reference.
Oh, right.
So the end of Cape Fear when he's like...
Yeah, he does the dance.
Sideshow Bob to sing the entire HMS Pinafore to distract him.
And what was the one in this one?
And in this one, when Barney's doing the cartwheels, singing "I am the very model of a modern Major General." Wow. I'm surprised I got that out. I've had several beers.
well played. Now, if you could also do the backflips, I'll be very impressed.
No.
But I love how Homer's counter is there. Once was a man from Nantucket.
Surely the war had to be put in there because what are you going to ride Nantucket with?
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up.
But no, I love that how like just that opening line of that limerick is the punchline to a joke now. Like that's all you need to say.
I just go thump.
Yeah. No, it was good. Yeah. Any other general thoughts about the episode, the story, the jokes, or anything?
Look, the only really joke that I really wrote down as being dated, at least from my point of view, is the Richard Nixon upon re-entry joke where Homer's face wobbles for a second and turns into Richard Nixon and he goes and then it cuts away. It seems like it was a joke that was just put in there. There's no context. It's a tiny little side gag that lasts for about the second and a half.
The second time it happens because he's got the one where he's in the
spinning roundy.
Gravitron.
Let's call it Gravitron. I'm sure that's what
where he turns into Popeye.
I'm sure that's the technical term. After all, this is the NASA who, when they launch a rocket, say, "Make rocket go now."
Let's put him in the swingamajig. Yeah. I want to believe it. I want to believe it so much.
But where he's going spinning around in the Gravitron at Mark 1 or whatever, and his face peels up. I can't stand no more. Yeah. Super dated joke.
Yeah.
Who even
for sure. Even when that would have come out, which had been, when did this come out? Do you know?
This would have been 94.
Yeah, so 94.
95 on our shores.
Yeah, so Popeye is a long time before that.
Yeah.
The only other thing, I don't know if you go too much into the behind the scenes or the kind of the making of, but I did notice that this episode had Buzz Aldrin and James Taylor, so obviously had quite a celebrity cast coming in.
By this time, I think The Simpsons is the biggest thing on TV.
Yeah, but it would have been, I mean, I imagine it, maybe Buzz Aldrin would have done it on the cheap, but I can't imagine it must take a lot to get James Taylor out of his farm.
Former President James Taylor. That was I do remember when I was a kid, I just assumed he was.
Yeah, that's right. It's like,
wow, you're a musician and a president?
Wow, James Taylor, he's done well.
Yeah, way to go. Mrs. Taylor must be really proud.
Especially when the NASA guy calls him this young punk.
Yeah,
He's already drawn like he's 60, he's half bald with receding hair.
Yeah. Remind me of James Taylor when we get to the part of the question where
I'll try, but I guarantee nothing.
Over things over your head. Yeah, any other notes?
My only notes on the jokes is just how frequent some of the smaller ones were. Like at the very beginning, it's like, begin your daily trudge towards the announcement from Mr. Burns.
Yeah, daily trudge,
like, can we please have an odd hush?
Yeah.
It does sound like, or it does feel like they're trying to make like you feel like they're making the jokes that they're making. They're not things that are funny that happen to be a joke. They're saying they're almost not South Parkian, but more like American Dad, whereas like a moment where we do, it's just like that time I met Miley Cyrus. Yeah. That little flashback, they're just pausing to make our joke and then carry on. So there's a lot of that in the beginning, I noticed. The jokes that I'd forgotten about that I really liked was Homer dialing Marge in a moment of doubt, saying, "I don't want to be an astronaut," and she says, "When I first met you, didn't know how to use a touch-tone phone." Yeah. And then Homer starts dialing again. She's like, "You've dialed already."
I think this is the first time I've genuinely got that one. I don't know. I must have just blitzed every time she said touch-tone phone.
Yeah.
Every single previous time.
For children of the internet age, a touch-tone phone is a thing on your desk that is a phone that also has big buttons on it. And when you push it, it goes deet, deet, deet. Yep. Look at ET. They have one.
Yeah. And it replaced the rotary dial-up, which we're all used to at the time.
Yes. The we just call it operator. Operator, give me Klondike 6 and step on it.
Also, tell me what a Klondike is.
It's an area in northern Canada above a river that they used to mine gold for.
Is it nice this time of year?
I don't know. I only know that because I once went, "What the fuck is a Klondike?" And
that's what it is. Yeah. Well, there we go. My other note was, I swear this was cut from Channel 10.
Yeah.
There's the Itchy and Scratchy episode, and then after that, I swear it used to just cut straight to Homer looking freaked out on the couch, but now there's the preceding program was considered too violent for children.
Yeah, absolutely.
The program instead of before, it's like, I swear that wasn't there before.
Yeah, I don't remember that either, but that's a very
why cut that
subtle
one
text
bit?
I have a feeling that
it might have been time.
The bit where he popped Scratchy's head was cut as well.
No, I'm sure, because the pinprick and then that spraying the end. Maybe it's possible because I know they cut a lot of Itchy and Scratchy stuff.
It's probably more likely that you just didn't really pay a lot of attention to text on a screen. I
mean, possibly.
I mean,
I feel like
that
I know
involved
they cut
reading
straight from Itchy and Scratchy theme song straight to Homer looking freaked
I
out.
don't particularly remember that section either, but I dare say that you're probably distracted by a cat's innards on the screen, spelling out the end than you were about the
It is my number 3 distractions. So.
Yeah, that's why we have no more cats.
Yeah, the internet's number 2 distraction.
No, it's boobs and people shouting, "Look over there."
Wait, look over there.
Oh.
Boobs.
And cat guts. What?
Yeah.
I know it's a weird.
Starts out great, ends terrible.
Yeah. But yeah, those are literally all my notes I've got written down.
What else do I have? Oh, I've got there's like the good gag when NASA's trying to figure out how they become more popular with the public, and the spaceship turns around and goes, he says, we could tell them the truth that all those chimps that we sent to space came back super smart. And look, chair spins around, and he says that he's wearing a tweed coat, smoking a pipe, and wearing roller skates. That was excellent.
I like the subtle suggestion that the ape is so super advanced, it's appreciated that roller skates are the most efficient way of getting around.
Yeah.
I thought that was this one given to being just doing things for fun.
No, I like to think that it's so advanced, we don't do it because we feel it would be, uncouth or unfashionable, but it knows better. It's putting, efficiency ahead of fashion.
But then also wearing tweed. Well, I suppose that makes your point, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I feel.
The other thing I noted was there was a throw to Home Improvement sketch where he runs over Wilson in the lawnmower, and he says, "Oh well, back to jail for me."
Yep.
A good throwback to Tim Allen, who was the star of the show at the time, had been in jail previously for cocaine trafficking.
Yeah.
I thought that was topical for 1995.
Yeah. Hugely.
It really was.
And that's sort of the shame of this episode, is that there's just a few jokes that won't date so well, but including references to Home Improvement and just commercial television in general.
Yeah.
And NASA launching space shuttles.
And Touchstone's phones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was a decent theme between, especially that NASA embodied, that was popularity versus use. And there's that bit where he goes, "Oh, our ratings are the highest they've been in 20 years." And he goes, "Excellent. How's the launch doing?" They're like, "I don't know. All this is for measuring TV." I think that's a nice moment where they go, NASA can only be relevant and important if they're doing things in the public's eye that's relevant and important, and which makes you think about all the stuff you're seeing now with like like a lot of missions to Mars and a lot of talks about mining asteroids and stuff and all this SpaceX things, where the things they're doing now are big, explosive, interesting things where they go, "We're sending people to Mars," but they're not going, "Hey guys, we've made a new type of Teflon.
Yeah.
It's twice as less slippery."
Isn't that amazing? I think that would be.
Yeah, I don't know how you measure twice as less.
Well, remember, the importance of this mission is to test weightlessness on tiny screws, which may have millions of applications here on Earth, from watchmaking to watch repair.
Watch repair. Got that down as well.
And what a great joke they called back to with the ants. Oh, now we'll never know if ants can sort tiny screws in space.
It set screw and watch maintenance repair back like a decade.
That's very true.
All right, we'll hook into the questionnaire now.
Wait, I never warned me about a questionnaire.
Well, I mean,
Sorry, Phil, there's a questionnaire. These are unprepared answers.
Dun. What is your credit card number?
3.
He's lying at 7.
So, do you remember watching this episode specifically back in the day? Any memories of back then? And quoting it round the schoolyard, perhaps?
Definitely quoting it again, like you say, going, "Na, na, na." Well, that was always fun. Just general splort on the couch, laughing, possibly eating ice cream.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, school was a long way away for me now. I don't remember anything particular about this one. I think I definitely remember talking about it, but I don't think it's not really full of quotable quotes in this one as other ones were. I didn't go to school and try and sing the HMS Pinafore because I tried at home and it just didn't work out for me.
Oh, it's a tough bit.
Yeah. We're all thinking about trying to do it, aren't we?
Just trying to figure out if I can get that backflip. Change it to a front flip, I could do that.
I would still recommend it. Well, your house is not that big.
I'd go outside. I'm not a monster.
Your yard is not that big.
Is this an episode you've revisited often?
When it's on. I think that's my answer to pretty much all of these, but when it's on.
Yep. I also like to ask in this question, do you think you've got an approximate play count? I would say probably 50 times, I guess.
50?
This is why he does this.
Wow, that's an
like
extraordinary
6.
amount.
Well,
I reckon I've seen this episode maybe 4 times.
Maybe
but
4.
Not by choice, just because it's on. I wouldn't... I don't think I've ever hunted down a Simpsons episode to watch specifically. They often, if they're on, I'll go, "Oh, I'll watch this," and watch it. Yeah. But I've never sat down and gone, really want to see Homer in space episode.
Put your channel flipping at mum and dad's, and you don't really want to listen to that. So you're like, oh hey,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yellow people doing stuff.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Any other jokes that flew over your head that you only noticed on this viewing?
I mentioned the touch tone line. And,
Yeah. Yeah, the all drudge to work. What was it again? Yeah, that one flew
All
over.
trudge to work.
Yeah.
Fine, pistol, Uzi, two children posing as adults, Homer. Yeah, I mean, at the time, I didn't get the 2001 references, but
Yeah.
now I do.
I think at the time I understood what the Fox satellite was, but I didn't understand why it was in there smacking Homer in the head.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, yeah, you make fun of Fox.
Do you see yourself watching this episode again?
Sure.
If it's on, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
That is my promise to you, Space Homer.
Well, yeah. Also, in this question, I like to ask, what's the minimum effort you're going to do to watch this episode? So, like the
Zero effort.
yeah.
Well, when we get to some of the worst episodes, it's like, would you turn it off? Or if you're hungover and relaxed and you're sitting comfortably and this comes on, do you dislike it enough to shut it off?
How far away would the remote be in that scenario?
In that scenario, it's like just out of reach.
If it's like a noisy jut to get it, if I have to go and get it, I'll get it. If it's standing up, forget about it. But I would watch this one, probably all the way through. I'd also be on my phone at the same time. So.
It's not one you have to pay attention to get, but you'll get it.
There's not many Simpsons things you need to watch and really pay attention to get all the jokes.
Yeah, because of so many repeated viewings and so many repeated
It's ingrained, yeah.
quotings, yeah. So yeah, let's talk about the wackiness of this episode. This is very fucking wacky.
There's a lot of slapstick comedy in this.
Yeah.
A lot of kind of like Looney Tunes-esque jokes, like when he dashes from the phone over to where the NASA guys are talking to Barney, he's just a blur until he arrives there, and then he pushes them aside.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole notion of him going into space, super wacky. So, in this question and the next one, I like to talk about wackiness and heart of The Simpsons because I think they're two important elements that exist in The Simpsons universe. And it's not that either one is a good or a bad thing. They can both be good and bad at times.
We found that when they're in balance, it's usually the best episodes.
So yeah, just a bit more on the wackiness. Yeah, just sending him out to space. That's what you do on the third movie, right?
It's very, very early on. So what season is this on? Season 5?
5, yeah.
So it's pretty early to be. Traditionally, you're kind of thinking about maybe marrying off a character or two characters falling in love, but not sending someone to space.
Yeah.
Unusual step for the writers of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I watched all of Full House. It never happened there.
Yeah, it's true. All those episodes, 9 seasons of Seinfeld.
Not once did they go to space. Not even Cape Canaveral.
Yeah, not even once. What's the deal with dehydrated food?
Oh, that's how they should have had the finale end. Instead of Jerry saying, "Why don't we go to Paris?" Why don't we just go to Mars?
That would have been amusing, at least.
Kramer in a spaceship would definitely be wacky comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. Kramer in a spaceship.
There was actually a fair bit of violence in this one as well. The NASA guy knocks
clubbing
4 people in total unconscious, threatens another one. Homer tries to beat up an astronaut in space with an inanimate carbon rob.
Glass and killer ants are flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, can we talk about the hail ants bit?
I can't believe we haven't mentioned it yet.
Ken Brockman
just immediately willing to bow down to his intergalactic overlords.
Well, do you think, now that I think about it, do you think that is another nod against the Fox Corporation? Is that the
what? So Ken Brockman is Fox.
Yeah. Well, no, the face of Ken Brockman is is basically the
Fox News.
No, what are they trying to say? The figurehead of the Simpsons, because they're their front media outlet.
Sure.
Suddenly, the Simpsons gets bought out by Fox. Ken Brockman instantly changes his alliance to Space Ants. Maybe that's another a subtle jab at Fox again, which I'd never thought about until just then.
Yeah, I could see that. That makes an odd sort of sense.
I mean, it might just be that he wants to be in control of the ants and not be a slave. It might not be satire at all.
I still
Just
love,
as yeah,
I'd say I still love how quickly they get up concept art of an ant enslaving.
yeah.
Yeah, I like to think the guy drawing the picture is just on board as Ken Brockman is. Maybe even more so.
Yeah, or they've just really, really prepared for every type of invasion. It's like, okay, Danny, bring up the ant overlords. What is it? I think it's K16.
K16? No, that's Sloth Overlord.
Oh,
Damn it.
shit. Yeah, I always do this.
Is this really necessary? Look, when the time
One day,
comes.
you are going to be happy that we prepared for these overlords.
We're going to be the first one with a graphic up across the nation.
Yeah.
Sit down and sketch this badger whipping a honey badger.
And when they're blasting us with a honey badger rays, they'll go, those guys, they already have pictures up. Good, we're keeping you alive.
Yep. So yeah, and how about the heart of this episode? This is a little
It
bit.
was a little bit in the sense of Homer wanting to be respected, and him
Yeah.
and Bart have a nice little moment where he writes "hero" on the back of his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I only found that bit, knowing The Simpsons goes on for much longer, and as I do, and the relationship between Bart and Homer, I found that to be really kind of a saccharine, sweet moment. Like, he writes here on the side of his head, but I can't ever see Bart doing that ever again
No.
in like the rest of the 25 episodes. I think he would have written, maybe not such a dumbass or something. But I don't think he would ever have called him hero quietly or
They
even
have
on the
that
side of
great
his head.
moment of, wow, my father, an astronaut. I am so full of... what's the opposite of shame?
Yeah.
Not shame? No, not that far.
Less shame?
Yeah, that was a good moment. I like the opposite of shame is not shame.
Yeah.
Not even pride.
Nope, not
Never make it literally across halfway.
just less shame.
Yeah, so I think obviously that's the thematic edge for that
Yeah,
episode.
and a little bit of Marge being supportive there, just
Yeah.
getting him back in the shuttle.
Yeah, I think that like Marge is supportive more often than not, though, isn't he?
Sorry.
Marge is supportive more often than not in an
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah,
unless
that's
it's a Marge-centric episode, then she's usually, yeah, homie, we can do this. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a way to have
Yeah, unless she's
2
saying,
TVs and a kebab.
throw back the catfish, then she's, very supportive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that kind of seemed like that was just. Otherwise, you don't have half an episode if he doesn't get on the plane.
Yeah.
Because this is season 5, and Homer's probably had 48 jobs by now.
Yeah.
Oh, that should be. You could add that the Homer Simpson resume.
Yeah.
Astronaut, 6 days.
I might just hand that out as my resume
Oh,
from
no,
now
no.
on and just have Homer's.
It's in Springfield, I think, where Homer does list
Yeah,
everything
list
he's
all of
done.
them. Yeah.
And that was probably like season
13.
13, I was going to say 14.
Yeah. Did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Integrity-wise, everything's on point. And
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, quintessentially.
Yeah.
Characters behave like they're characters, and nothing feels off or out of place. Or definitely.
All right. Any other quotable moments?
The only thing I've got that we haven't talked about is the moment where he regrets not meeting Mr. T in the mall,
How did I forget that?
which I do love. But and I love the moment of that. The punchline of that is the best part where he goes. And when I got there and I asked the guy at the mall who works at the mall if Mr. T had come back, and he just said he didn't know. It was like, of course, the guy at the mall won't know what the hell Mr. T's up
But it's
to.
a good life metaphor.
And yeah, one of those ones where it's a character telling you something someone else said, but you can hear how that third party said it. You know, I don't know.
No, I love the sorrow in Homer's voice. When he's like, he said he didn't know.
Yeah, like he actually expected him to know. Oh, next Thursday,
Yeah.
So the other question I was going to pose, I'm not sure if you guys would know this or know if this is even a thing, but I know when The Simpsons first came out, Bart was the lead, most popular character. And then after a while, Homer kind of took over because obviously adults don't like Bart, and then everybody else grows up and Homer becomes the more relatable one. Do we know, because this was obviously a 100% Homer episode,
Yeah.
do we know when that change took place?
Homer eclipsed Bart, yeah.
I'd actually say it was as early as season 2.
Yeah, because there are very early Homer-centered episodes. Like the one coming to mind is the one where does he go to a strip club or something, and then people find out.
Yeah,
And he
that's
makes his-
season 1.
That's season 1. So that was a very Homer.
But it was a
heavy
late
episode.
season 1.
But even that was season 1. That was a very Homer-heavy episode.
Yeah.
I think like one episode's fine, but like if you maybe this
When
is
it
only-
really became the focus.
yeah, because I do remember noticing that as I was watching it when we were growing up was identified with Bart. Bart was the cool one, and then especially when they were all still kind of squiggly lines
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than that bit where they'd stand still, but they'd kind of shimmy because the animation wasn't great. They were all very butt heavy, and you never saw. I think there was at least one, maybe with Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Yeah.
If that's
Back
still
in
season one.
Yeah.
And then almost nothing else, and then everybody else was basically satelliting those two characters, and then not much later on, but especially when I was getting towards the end of high school, Homer was the be-all and end-all. Like, he didn't care at all. Like, if they'd done no other character episodes apart from Homer, I would have been fine with that.
Yeah.
Especially the stupid Marge episodes, because they're boring.
Yep. Does Marge really love Homer? Oh, wait, she does. Everything's fine.
Also, okay.
Oh, that's going to be the season 20 episode.
I would love to see a recently divorced, newly single Homer Simpson spin-off.
We've seen it. You don't want to.
No, really?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Elliot right now?
No. Was it Drama-Rama?
Oh, future drama where they
Drama.
separate, yeah.
It's in, like, 2024 or something, and Homer's in a singles pad underneath the ocean because it's the future. It's a bad episode.
Yeah.
And we failed that one. Speaking of failing things, let's not fail this one, but let's rank it.
Wow, way to segue.
I know, smooth as a baby's behind.
He's actually a pro at this.
So yeah, we have 6 rankings from worst to best. They go failure, participant, bronze, silver, gold, and for the very, very best episodes, that which The Simpsons could not exist without, we have the cubic zirconia rank, which is like platinum or diamond or something.
I know what a cubic zirconia is. I've seen The Simpsons.
Excellent.
It's the world's largest cubic zirconium. And sneakers for sneaking. Yes, I understand.
So, where would you like to rank this one, Phil, for the index?
I would say I'd have to give this one a solid gold. I don't think it's quintessential enough to be cubic zirconium, but it is a good episode that I'd happily watch again. Has a few quotable moments, a couple of good laugh out loud moments, but I don't think it wouldn't make my top 10. Yeah, but it's a good episode nonetheless.
That's fair score. How about you, Beach?
Yep, I'm also a gold. It's great. It's good fun. You laugh a lot. But it's one of those ones where if they had like a disc of the very best of The Simpsons and this wasn't on it, I'd be like, I can understand that.
Yep.
I might be a little surprised, but no, I think I'd agree.
Well, I thought I'd be fighting you guys on this one, but no, mine's a gold as well.
Unanimous gold!
Yeah. I was surprised on this rewatch
it's
that it was
tough.
actually a little lighter on the jokes and again, a couple of things that didn't date so well. Even the pacing of the episode's a bit slower. It's not that I'm taking it down, but it is jumping the shark, sending him into space. But it is like justified with all its
Technically,
great moments.
jumping all the sharks.
Yeah.
Every shark in the world. Even left shark.
Fuck. What was I listening? I think it was
What the hell is left shark?
I'll tell you later.
But no, anyway, yeah, I think gold's a very, very fair ranking for this one.
Obviously,
all
we all
right,
picked it.
and so next we are going to watch an episode from the 14th season, episode 2, called "How I Spent My Strummer Vacation." Guys, just from the little picture on the Wikipedia page, do you remember this episode?
Oh, I picked it.
No, I don't know, but there's clearly Lenny Kravitz, and is that Eric Clapton? Who's on the left side?
No, from left to right, that's Elvis Costello, Tom Petty, Keith
there,
Richards,
Eric Clapton.
Homer, Mick Jagger, Lenny Kravitz, and Brian Setzer.
Who the hell is Brian Setzer?
I don't even know if I'm saying his name right.
Take that, Brian Setzer.
Yeah, do better work.
Yeah, Brian Setzer.
No, but who is he? Click on the thing.
That's just live Wikipedia stuff.
He's of the
Guys,
Brian
it's a new
Setzer
show.
Orchestra.
The Brian Setzer Orchestra?
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
Doesn't
Yeah,
help.
see? The Brian Setzer
No,
Orchestra.
but what is he? Is he a musician or is he
Yeah,
like...
he's a guitarist.
Well, he's not a very good one though, is he?
If you haven't heard of him.
Why have you got The Devil Wears Nada?
Oh, because that's going to be the season 20 after episode we're going to watch.
Oh, I thought it was
The
I
HD
thought
era.
it was a Kanye lyric.
No. Ew. I'd never quote that. Anyway, on to the next one.
That being Kanye?
And we are back. We just watched season 15? Episode 2, whatever. Yeah, season 14, episode 2. How I Spent My Strummer Vacation. Guys, what'd you think?
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun, I'll say.
It is fun.
Yep.
I don't know that I'd actually seen that episode before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was, either I have and I forgot about it, or I hadn't.
I feel like you don't forget about that many iconic classic rock stars.
That's true. I do question their naming
Brian
of
Seltzer.
this. Yeah, naming of this episode after Strummer, and then he's the least known person out of all the celebrities.
Yeah, and he's not. Yeah, Joe Strummer's not even there.
Even worse.
Or if it's like just Strummer as a general guitar
Yeah,
reference.
I thought that's what I thought.
Oh, I always thought it was a reference to Joe Strummer. But anyway, for those of you who don't know at home, this is the episode where okay, well, a lot happens to get to where they're going, but basically Homer goes to rock and roll fantasy camp where he is joined by all those people that I mentioned earlier. Who sort of just there for like a couple of skits each, and
Some nice cameo voicing and
Yeah, surprisingly, Keith Richards and Mick Jagger, really clear cameo voices.
yeah, not bad, especially from Keith Richards.
Especially for Keith Richards. They had to stop for the heroin breaks, I see.
yeah, clearly. Well, you understand when you hire Keith Richards, you have heroin.
You're getting Keith Richards, yeah.
Yeah. And, normally when they get, like, non-actor voice actors, musicians or sports stars, they have this, like, stilted delivery to them.
Yeah, there's that bit out of South Park where we were listening to the audio commentary on that, and they had Tom York from Radiohead on it.
Yeah.
And they said, I never thought I'd have to tell Tom York to emote more, but I did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Whereas this, they seem to give very genuine and pretty funny performances there. They clearly get the roles they're meant to be playing.
Yeah, absolutely. And from that there are so many quotable moments from this episode, and I know as a bass player I've just been told that Elvis Costello bit over and over again.
Yeah,
there are many fun instruments like bass.
Who wants to be a bass player? Bloom, bloom.
You get the double face guitar that Tom Petty had. That looked like the best one.
The one where you switch
Flip
it around
from
and it's
acoustic.
an electric. Oh, so cool. But just on the guitars briefly, like as a musician, like they really went to a lot of animation effort in this episode. Like I can recognize a lot of the guitar shapes they're using. There were Stratocasters, Les Pauls. Apu was playing a Music Man Stingray bass, my favorite type of bass.
May surprise you to know I have no favorite types of bass.
Yeah, favorite types of stingrays.
Like the fire.
Yes, Corvette Stingray.
So yeah, and just on the story, so it was like a very indicative, like of later Simpsons
this is something we've found in the later seasons. They have a very convoluted roundabout way to get to the main central plot.
Right.
So our main comparison is you go back to the softball episode. It starts with Homer eating too many donuts, starting to choke, and then instead of helping him, they all look at the softball sign-up sheet. And that's how you get into the softball episode. It's literally about 20 seconds.
Right. So
Whereas
straight away, this is a whole...
it's a whole first act dedicated to getting the family pissed off at him, which they then turn around and reward him with.
Well, it's really getting him to say he never got his chance of having his dream of being a rock and roll hero.
Which I will say...
Or a Playboy photographer. I'm surprised this episode didn't go that direction.
Yeah, no, I like think there's an alternate version of this where they send him to Playboy fantasy camp.
Yeah.
I have a feeling maybe that's Simpsons After Dark.
Yeah. But I will say in this instance of those later seasons having that long roundabout way to get the main story, this one makes a little bit more sense because you've got the setup of him being in the dead-end job and kind of, while complaining about his family, kind of earning the camp that he gets, I think.
Yeah, because ultimately what he said in the Taxi Cab Confessional show, which, actually, just quickly on that, do you guys remember those shows?
Yes,
Yeah.
vaguely. I think it aired here for a little while. Obviously, it did much better in the States, but...
No, I remember like tuning in on Comedy Channel or something like late at night, especially because it was one of those shows that had
risque.
Yeah, very risque.
I don't remember it really being that risque though. I think there was always the promise of risque, but no delivery of. Risque.
I remember this one where there was a transgender woman who picked up her phone and she goes, "Oh, hi, honey. You want me to come around? Oh, okay. Oh, so you want me to rape you? All right, that can be done." And that was just...
No, I take it back. The one I saw was just a girl who was slightly drunk complaining about a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also 99.6% sure they're all staged anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Because otherwise, why would you agree to release that footage?
You want to be famous?
Well, and in the case of my one, she's probably a working girl, so, anything to get your name out there.
True.
It's free advertising.
Rapes by Donna.
As seen on Taxi Cab Confessions. I like to think like modern ones would be you get in the cab, it's like, hey, how you doing? I'm just going to text.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
I think from the cab rides I've had, it's more going to be interesting because of the cabbie, who's either also drunk, and then I'm wondering why I'm in there with him, or just starts being really racist.
You know, and when you're drunk in a cab and you get Macca's and you offer to buy them a burger, they never say yes.
Maybe it happens so often they'll feel like they'll just get fat.
Yeah, true.
Maybe it's a heart condition.
Oh, dude, this is the third time I've been out to Macca's tonight. You'd be
If that was the
surprised.
case, I might become the cab driver.
Yeah,
Macca's,
pull up
let's go.
They pull up to the window. The guy in the booth is like, "Hey, Kevin."
You got another one? Oh, yes. So yeah, it did take a few steps to get to the main plot of this episode. So the first act, it was, Mo refuses Homer service because he doesn't have any money. So Homer goes around and finds a bunch of legal free ways to get high.
Like licking toads and breathing thin air.
And then donating blood. And
Also, how many jobs does that the teenage boy in Springfield have?
Oh, squeaky voice teen. He has every job.
He's like, and every time they need someone who's customer service, it's automatically him.
I'm pretty sure it's actually just a stage of puberty in Springfield. You have to go through squeaky teen voice stage.
There's the clone theory of Springfield.
What's that?
Oh, that's that Springfield is home to a very advanced cloning laboratory that keeps getting some of them very, very right in terms of Homers who have clearly died many times.
Yep.
Squeaky voice teens.
Oh, and Raphael.
Raphael, the guy with a highly Jewish voice. Where to?
He's more like Brooklyn.
Sorry, Brooklyn.
Sarcastic guy.
Sorry, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Exposing your racism.
Yeah.
He's mixing up his type of New York people.
I know.
New Yorkers, Jewish, and
They're
the
either
other kind.
from Jewish or they're from Brooklyn.
They're either from Israel or Brooklyn.
There's a difference.
Yeah, one's not on the Gaza Strip.
Well, I just haven't been to New York.
Or Gaza Strip.
That's not in New York.
Yes.
Are you sure?
So anyway, Mo finally relents and gives him a beer, and Homer gets wasted really quickly. So Mo shoves him into a cab, and then Homer gets on the taxi cab confessional, which gets aired, and the Simpsons family are watching TV
The next day.
Oh, because Monkey Trauma Center got preempted.
Also, it was clearly like 6:30 in the evening, and they're showing Taxi Cab Confessionals, and then they all decide to watch it.
Yeah, and that's an amazing turnaround. You yourself, as a video editor, know that would have been
There would be a terrible show to work on.
Well, especially to cancel an existing show,
especially to get on air the next day.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
And so that's the act break. The family are pissed off at him. Then we come back from the act break.
Yeah, he's complaining about, then you get some job with you have to not play guitar and not take photos of naked ladies and feel yourself get fat and bald.
Kiss your dreams goodbye. And so, then in the second act, that's when the family, go to take him off on some mysterious journey, and Homer's like, oh, God, they're going to kill me. And they're like, no, we took you to rock and roll fantasy camp. Turns out you had a point, and we are kind of jerks sometimes, so we're letting you live out your dreams. And then he goes to rock and roll fantasy camp, a few skits around there with the 6 guest stars, and then that's pretty much the second act. And then the third act is a mess.
There's a lot of things in one section of the.
Yeah, he doesn't want to return to the home life, so they give him another gasp at fame by being what he thinks is going to be a rock legend, but in fact he's just a roadie. But then calamity.
To be fair, though, they do say to him, "We're putting on a charity gig tomorrow night. Why don't you come and be part of it?" And they don't go as a roadie at any point. So he understandably gets his hopes up, invites all his friends around to see him rock out.
Yeah,
because he requests 40 guest passes.
And then uses 6.
I assume that he sold the others for profit.
Yeah.
Smart.
SMRT. And for the record, they say, Mick Jagger says to Homer, tap the mics and say tests. Mick Jagger would know you don't tap mics. It's bad for them.
He would know,
he's a musician. And
maybe those mics needed punishing.
And all the mics are naughty, and
I want to tap this mic now so bad. But you're standing right there. We'll do it anyhow. But you won't know.
I'll edit out those taps.
We're gonna school mom you.
I will school mom you.
Tap, tap, tap.
So yeah. Anyway, I do think that third act is a bit of a mess, though, where
Yeah, I said calamity on the fly, and I'm not going to back it up. It's a calamity.
Yeah, because Homer he thinks he's going to be a rock star, and they're like, oh no, we need you to do roadie work, and he gets up and does roadie work, and all his family are like, oh, we're disappointed in him now, and then he grabs a guitar and it's like, yay, I'm a guitar
But
player
it's
now.
fun, like it's goofy and it's all over the place, but you enjoy it, and that's the thing. First time watching that, you're not really sure where it's going to go.
You didn't let me get to the bit where the 6 rock stars mount a Satan car and chase after him, setting him on fire.
The people knew.
Yeah.
It does seem like they had 20 minutes worth of story to wrap up in 6.5 minutes for that section.
Yep.
And it was, because you could have closed it out a lot better if, Homer had gone home and decided to start his own rock group.
Yeah.
And played on the top of Moe's Tavern, but got cats thrown at them or something.
Yeah.
It's
Or George Harrison drives by and goes, "It's been done."
Yeah.
Double reference.
Simpsons.
Simpsons referencing their own Simpsons, referencing the Beatles.
Actually, that's what I was going to say.
Inception.
In Deep Space Homer, they do that Chips bit again in the episode where Kodos and Kang abduct them. And it's not a Halloween episode either.
Yeah,
really?
The non-canon episode where they get abducted and they go to planets and stuff. Yeah, it's fucking horrible.
It's like insane in terms of continuity because they've gone to space.
Oh, okay.
There's a crossover episode with Futurama where they go to the future, and it's canonical because it's not a Halloween episode. It's like,
oh, okay.
this is stupid.
That's
And
weird.
and that episode exists in a realm where there's tiny little Bart creatures that evolved from little rabbits.
Okay.
Yeah, it's insane.
Fucking off the wall. At least they were making sense in this 14th season episode.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not amazing, but it's fun. It's enjoyable.
It is fun. Actually, that's another thing I wanted to mention is I'm not actually sure who this episode... Well, I mean, I guess it's for rock and roll fans because, I like this episode, but I can't imagine someone who doesn't like rock and roll. I don't even like half those acts, and, this is just a ridiculous amount of fun, this episode for me.
It's more of, look at the amount of people we got to get into this episode.
Yeah.
I'm not... it was cool to see Keith Richards and co do stuff, but seeing The Simpsons is especially now, just I might have been impressed with that when I was 14.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because I think, round about this time this rolled around, I was just getting into, Stones and,
Yeah,
the
me
classic
too.
rock things. So that was very cool for me to see Simpsons, something from now that I liked, mixed with something from a previous era that I was just getting into. So that was very cool. But,
Yeah, because this would have been about 2002, 2003.
something like that, yeah.
All right. Time for the questionnaire. So, Phil, you don't think you've seen this one? Beach, do you remember watching this back in the day? Any memories and such?
As I think I've mentioned previously on one of these, I had already established myself as a smug classic rock connoisseur. So I was again, pretty stoked to see all these acts come together on The Simpsons and be quietly smug. I get that reference.
Yeah.
Yes, I know strut, school mom, everyone's naughty.
And yeah, I've heard of the Brian Setzer Orchestra.
No one's heard of the Brian Setzer Orchestra.
Or Brian Setzer.
Yeah. I remember the bass bit, and I do remember liking this a lot in high school because we could show how knowledgeable we were.
I also quite
rock.
like the brief moments where Mick Jagger gets to be the stuffed shirt school dean Simpson.
Yeah.
That's good fun.
That was good. I think that was probably the most quotable quote out of that episode was him being essentially Principal Skinner.
Yeah. Is this an episode you revisit much?
Again, when it's on. I think you're the only one who intentionally revisits stuff.
Yeah.
Where the rest of us just kind of collide with episodes when they come along.
Totally.
Share their orbit.
Yeah.
Any jokes you only noticed just on this viewing?
I think all of them.
Yeah. Again.
The only one I did notice is then I'm more aware of who, when Lenny Kravitz says, well, I don't do it, but such and such does. Who was that again?
Fucking Footloose. Kenny Loggins.
Kenny Loggins. I think I missed the name Kenny Loggins a bunch of times the time I caught it. Not because I didn't know who Kenny Loggins was, but he wasn't in any other part of the episode.
Yeah.
Also, is Kenny Loggins known crotch stuffer? Is that a thing he's been accused of in the past?
I'm willing to say that now.
I feel like there was a missed chance to use the term danger zone, yeah.
Yeah.
He likes to stuff his danger zones.
No,
and
that's
like
true.
that.
I could have, if I had been thinking more clearly, I would
Yeah.
have put that
But he's
together.
got a better cameo in Archer, so
Yeah. Oh, totally. Do you watch Archer, Phil?
No, I don't.
Oh,
it's great.
so good.
I can't do the Archer podcast, sorry.
Oh yeah, Tom Petty gets in a car that says "Save our public schools," and it's like this.
No, it's a June buggy.
Yeah.
I saw that, I was like,
Yeah,
oh, that's fun.
There's a really good quick visual gag where they all get in their cars. One's a Dune bunny, one's like a Formula One car. You can
Yeah.
kind of see something else ridiculous coming. You're like, nice. They'd have crazy cars.
But yeah, nice little callback to that bit, because I guess one of my problems with the episode is that it did feel like that second act was just a bunch of sketches that related around those
Yeah.
rock stars.
Yeah.
It was
absolutely.
like your second act is you're there for your guest stars, and the rest of it is just exists to get them in and out.
It was literally, they could have gone, all right, now let's go over to Tom Petty's corner and learn about
Yeah.
chords. And now let's go to Brian Stetzer, whatever his name is,
Sir, it's Seltzer.
Brian Seltzer, and learn about antacids. Like, that was very much a, now we'd get the money's worth out of these slabs, and now these
Yeah.
slabs, and now these slabs, and now quickly, let's finish this episode.
Yeah, and I like how Lenny Kravitz was reduced to just being a fashion guy. Like,
Well, I
it's
mean,
like,
really.
yeah, that's true. He doesn't really have any
Although,
value as a composition. Or something.
Interestingly enough,
I
his
concur.
move into cinema in the Hunger Games, he's just giving fashion advice.
Oh, that's true. It is.
So maybe this is all he wants to do, and he's like, they keep making me sing.
I think literally they've gone, well, I've heard Lenny Kravitz music and I've seen a photo of Lenny Kravitz. The photo is the better part of those two equations.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the looking at Lenny Kravitz rather than the listening to. Because I defy anyone, I know in this room, but I defy anyone in the world to tell me they have Lenny Kravitz on their iPod.
Yep, or to list more than 3 of his songs.
Oh yeah.
Getaway,
Yep.
a terrible remake of American Woman.
Yep.
That's all I got. But I do know that he has an outie belly button. And so
You didn't
he's a
even
freak.
do the big one because
He's-
Flyaway was
Getaway.
the big one. No, it's Flyaway.
Is it Flyaway?
Well,
That's what I meant
whatever.
when I said Getaway.
Because
That's how well I know
that's
that-
the first line. I want to get away.
Yeah, and that's all. That's when I turn it off. So that's all I've heard.
And then the classic. Get
Get
away.
Go
Are you
my
gonna go my
way.
way?
There's a
and
thing here.
it ain't over till it's over. So many tears we cried.
Oh.
We keep the love
Really? That's Lenny
alive.
Kravitz?
That's Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
I really thought that was a chick.
It ain't over till it's over.
Yeah, he usually doesn't
Is that
falsetto.
Lenny Kravitz?
That is Lenny Kravitz, sir.
Are you pulling my leg?
Well,
Hey, I'm a rock and roll fan. I get all
mean,
the references.
Jesus
it's not that I'm calling you a liar.
Yeah.
Stop making music.
You know what? Has Weird Al ever parodied him?
Oh, surely he has. I can hear the accordion going. Dun, 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 dun.
Maybe in there, like the
Polka.
polka
Yeah.
that he does. I don't think it's worth 3 minutes of Weird Al's time.
No.
See, there you go.
All right. Well, I really hope you're not Lenny Kravitz listening to
Yeah,
this.
I hope he is and complains so much that we get more ratings.
We'll definitely take your fan base. And when I say we, I mean Elliot.
Yeah. We just get to show up, wreck things, and leave. It's great.
Go check out DavePlus1.com as well.
Shameless plugs.
Hey, I seem to benefit from that. Do you see yourself watching this episode again?
Yeah, it's fun. Like I said.
Yeah.
I'd say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine.
You do very much get everything from the first viewing.
Yeah.
There's no return.
It doesn't feel like there's nothing in there that I could really quote again in conversation or in, apart from maybe the bass line. But apparently Elliot's heard
Yeah,
that
and it's
already.
sort of a bunch of music-specific situations that...
If you want to piss off a bass player,
Yeah.
lots of fun instruments.
I've already figured out ways to piss off bass players, and it's go, dude, I've only got stumpy fingers. I can't play guitar. And they all go, I also have stumpy fingers, and that's why I play bass. I'm like, yeah, bro.
Stumpy fist bump.
My fist is fine. It's the fingers that are sausage like.
I can still fist bump. Let's talk about the wackiness. Yeah, pretty wacky.
Pretty high up there.
These
Yeah,
rock and roll fantasy camps have Kip Winger at best. Like,
Yeah, and even then, even if you got that, they're still not going to chase you around with a flaming Satan head.
no.
No, that's the definition of wacky, isn't it?
Yeah. Or give it to you at the end and prop the top of your car onto the body of the Satan head.
I feel like he stole it and he wasn't given it.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like he's just
True.
he's
He did just say, I got this cool, so
yeah.
Mm.
But they didn't seem like they'd be in the mood to be. We're going to gift you this broken Satan head car
They
with
were
a
very
flame shot.
apologetic at the end, but I think they'd be more interested in getting Tom Petty's toe back on.
I think Tom Petty would definitely
Yeah.
be more interested.
I, feel
I did write a note that says Tom Petty's toe, but I can't remember why now.
Yeah, let me see if I got anything in
I think it was
mind.
funny, a little
Well,
bit.
yeah,
I think it was out of nowhere.
they unfolded it in a good way, which is where Homer mentioned it, and then Tom Petty came up on screen again. It was like, hey, you haven't seen my, and Lisa was like, no, we already discussed that.
Sorry, I will say the other bit I did quite like is when he knocks off Elvis Costello's hat and glasses. My image!
Yes.
That was good, yeah.
That I quite liked.
So the heart of this episode, I guess we had the bumps in where Marge gives him the rock and roll fantasy
Yeah,
kit.
and you got the sense of futility of growing up and falling into a rut that you didn't really plan for yourself, but now you're here, and hey, you've got to do it because you're an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing what he has to for the people who sort of depend on him rather than the things that he wants to do,
And
which is entirely not Homer's life. He spends his entire life doing things he wants to do,
Yeah.
and then making up for the ramifications afterwards. But this is just the old footsie.
Yeah. But I feel it's a very human thing to have that balance between doing something you hate for people you love, but also mildly resenting them for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think it was a good turn for Marge to end up going, hey, we kind of recognized you had a point, and like for them to actually give him something instead of like be mad at him, I thought was a good.
Yeah.
Could have gone with a
I
different.
think for
more
me
boring
that was
plotline.
the most unrealistic part of this episode.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Everything else was fine. That's never happening. If you ever slag off your family on national TV while drunk, they're not going to come up and go, you know what, we think you're all right. Take a holiday on us.
Yeah. Ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
For the most part, it's very much in this way Simpsons does or used to do celebrity cameos.
Yeah.
Having them have their fun, but also a little taking the piss out of them a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
Don't you have a crotch to stuff, Lenny?
Yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. That's how they use their celebrities a lot, is get them in a flat kind of way, but then give them little jibs and jabs to deal with. I think overall it's probably, I wouldn't say it's quintessential Simpsons, because it's really, this is a bottle episode that, I don't want to say pander, sounds pretty hard. It caters to the celebrities that they have there. Like they just went, hey, look, let's get a bunch of rock stars in and we'll do an episode on that. I'll show you why. Okay, let's figure out why Homer meets all these rock stars. That, I think that's how that came
feels
out.
like it was built backwards.
Yeah, definitely. I think
Yeah.
they went from, guys, in 3 months' time we can get these 5, 6, 7 rock stars in for an episode. Let's write something where that happens. And they're like, okay, well, let's do it this way, and wrote it backwards.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that front end, the first act, is so in depth and convoluted, because it's.
Because they were stretching the time a bit, or?
Well, I think it's just because they really had to try and make a way that wasn't just the Rolling Stones visit Springfield.
Yeah, sure. It didn't just immediately out of the gate was, it's Mick Jagger and Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, their new album. Yeah,
because if you remember the episode where they get, I don't actually know if they actually got George Bush in, but when George Bush moves next to Homer, like that's really fast. It's like a garage sale, and then he turns up a quarter of the way through the first act.
Shows up. He's not there because of the garage sale. He just happens during.
Yeah, whereas this was obviously orchestrated towards that, and I think that was kind of like, we can get these guys, but we've only got them for obviously 2/3 of the time it takes to record an episode, so they can't be in the first act at all. Let's leave it as a surprise, do all this ham-fisted cameo stuff in the second act, and then we'll do some Simpsons stuff in the third.
And that's sort of where the third fell apart. It just felt like that was just like one more obstacle for the sake of extending the story, where I just wish it ended the episode had ended differently.
Yeah, I can understand that. Although, like I said, the way they do a lot of or at least some of the more recent episodes where they get celebrity cameos, I'm going to point specifically to the Lady Gaga one, where they just kiss her ass the entire time.
Oh.
Like, so boring. You want to just smack them.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's like, if you get her on...
Is she wearing a meat dress the whole time?
No. I don't remember, actually, but no.
Terrifying.
It's just, but like, get her on, fine. She's a big name, whatever. But then, have jokes at her expense or make fun of a meat dress or something. Not just nothing.
But it's almost like
that
she
camera-
wrote it and she was totally Mary suing it, because at one point, like, Lisa's like, oh, I have low self-confidence. And she goes, oh, you just got to do what I do. Me, Lady Gaga. And like, it's totally delivered in that way. It's almost disgusting.
Painful.
Sounds wonderful.
All right.
Terrible.
Let's rank this thing. Oh, any other quotable moments? I think I'm
Let
good.
me check my notes. I'm pretty sure I'm good. There might be some fun. I mean, there's like, I stayed up all night and then I took pills.
Yeah.
Now I'm afraid, but that's
Great
not,
bit.
it's fun, but it's not something you say to people because they're gonna look at you weird.
Mm.
I do have written down, so long, jerks.
Oh yeah,
We're running to stay behind the car, are you, jerks?
Yeah, and I've boring with double exclamation marks, but that's not really quotable.
Boring.
Boring.
Yep. And no one go in the hallway closet till I say it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
why
what
did you tell them I had violent diarrhea?
Yes.
You did have violent diarrhea.
a
Excellent.
great excuse to get out of work because no one wants to hear about it.
Yeah.
It's the old
Totally.
thing. Just give them an excuse no one's going to want to talk about.
Yeah, totally. Just something that'll make the manager go, ew, I'm going to clean the phone now.
Correct.
Because that's something. Yeah.
Let's rank this thing. Paige, kick it off.
So my heart was on silver before it played, and now I'm like a splons.
Splons.
What's splons?
Between silver and bronze, but you're not allowed to split.
Not allowed to split.
You gotta
Max.
pick-
why invent a word that splits?
Because it's fun making words up.
You nougatine
Like golfer.
wafer.
I thought you'd know that as one of the co-writers of Dave Plus One. See it now on YouTube and DavePlus1.com.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, but DavePlus1.com is a great place where I spend a lot of my time. It's far better than that other rival site,
Also-
MSN.com.
Yeah, also at Dave Plus One on Instagram and Twitter.
And also at _ Dave Plus One.
Oh, add-ons, yeah.
Hashtag Dave Plus One.
So, okay, my strict critic side says bronze. The fact that I enjoyed the indulgence of it says silver. I'm going to obey my critic and say bronze.
All right.
It's a tough call because I do enjoy it. Like I said, it's fun to see these rock stars playing Simpsons characters basically.
Yeah.
But in true criticism form, I think it's gonna have to go bronze because you're right. It goes a lot of wacky, pointless places in the end.
Yeah.
Getting there is difficult. Although there's some good jokes. Yeah, bronze.
Oh, be nice to me. I donated blood. There we go.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's in the first segment before anything happens. So,
Yeah. What are you going to rank it?
I'd have to go bronze as well. I was going to go silver because I forgot what was between silver and terrible.
Really?
But now-
Like gold, silver, blank, terrible.
Blank terrible. There were two other ones. I didn't know what they were. I'm like, well, there's two other things that aren't
participants.
terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think bronze. It's not a bad episode per se, but it's far from their great episode. I think they weigh heavily on the guest judge or the guest.
Yeah, it's going to come down to a lot how much you care about the
Yeah, if you love everything that Mick Jagger does, you'll love this because he's quite good in it.
Yep.
Or the same for Tom
If
Petty.
you like
or
having Keith Richards talk about the importance of putting up the storm windows.
Oh, winter's coming.
yes,
Which is a great joke.
that was actually that made me laugh at the end where he says winter's coming, and I'm like, they predicted Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Keith Richards of all people. Actually, he could be the Frost King.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Wow.
Spoiler alert.
I don't get it.
Line break.
Shut up, doesn't like Game of Thrones.
And yeah, when I do
What's Game
the,
of Thrones?
I'm
touching your
actually
mic right
thinking
now.
that might be a good podcast. Elliot finally watches Game of Thrones, like where I wait until the series is over because they're only gonna do 8. I've been told
For the next season.
they've got a
No,
definite
next
cut
season's
off.
last season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Damn,
But also,
wait, really?
it's that'll just be everyone listening to you for 172 hours going, we know, Elliot.
Can you believe it?
You'd be-
Yes, we can. We
You'd
got
be
over
like,
that 10
oh,
years
guys,
ago.
John, what's his name? And Una Chaplin are getting married. This is going to be amazing.
Hashtag love weddings.
They've picked red for the bride.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that'll just be Elliot JD talks about the boobs in Game of Thrones.
It's gotten a lot less booby lately, though.
Wieners, wieners, wieners. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna
Maybe-
look. Me personally, I want to give it a silver, but part of this is I recognise that it's got to. I got to be thinking of the audience appeal as well, and ultimately, I think this episode entertains me and anyone else who's
Yeah.
kind of a rock fan. And so, like, for that reason and how messy the third act is, yeah, I gotta go give it a bronze, which means still a good episode, still an
Yeah, no,
episode
it's-
that I had fun with. Would I watch it again? Maybe, maybe not, but It didn't offend me, and I don't think it offended the legacy of the show.
As an individual, I would silver it, but as a critic, I'm going to bronze. That's the thing. I really like it, but then I like the cast.
See, as an individual and not thinking about anybody else, I give it a bronze.
La-dee-da.
Hey, you can pander to your audience, my friend.
I'm pandering to me.
I didn't like it that much. It gets a bronze. Not even a splons.
All right. Great.
Not even a splons.
Or a brilva, if you want.
Sounds like vulva.
And there's something wrong with vulva?
I mean, no, but I don't like to say it.
Brilliant.
Hi, Mum.
Ew.
Just made it worse.
So next and finally tonight, we're going to watch The Devil Wears Nada. It's the 5th episode of the 21st season. Does it sound familiar at all? Just on title? Probably not.
Sorry, I'm just reading the
No, not at all.
chalkboard gag, and it says, "I do not have the hots for my mom."
Wow, that's serendipitous.
I'd like to say that's the best part of this episode, and I think it is. This episode is a fucking dumpster fire.
Cool, let's get drunk.
I mean, yes, let's do that.
On podcasts, you just say nodding.
Nod.
Nod.
And we are back, and we just watched the 5th episode of the 21st season, The Devil Wears Nada. Guys, what'd you think?
It was weird.
Yeah, super weird.
It's a very weird episode.
Yeah.
So just a brief synopsis for those at home. Carl gets promoted to the new supervisor of Sector 7G, and Homer becomes his, whipping boy.
Personal assistant?
Yeah.
He's Anne Hathaway in Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, to Carl's Meryl
What?
Streep.
That's terrifying analogy. That's great.
No, that's
but
literally what I was going
No,
on.
no,
Yeah,
but
the
it's
whole
terrifying.
Paris section of this is that.
lovely Anne Hathaway is now Homer Simpson.
What a
Thanks
time.
for ruining my life.
and I don't know which is the B and which is the A story, but also another storyline that's happening in this episode. Marge and her charity friends pose for a nudie calendar, but Marge is the only pictures that end up in the nudie calendar. Then the whole town ogle her, but accept her at the same time.
Yeah, and I think it's more like a split A story because
Yeah.
she's, enjoying the eroticism of her new position, but Homer is too tired and too stressed out from his job to satisfy her womanly needs.
Which, of course, leads her to potential adultery.
Yeah.
With Ned Flanders.
Which of course, but it's like a weird episode because, I mean, you're right with the A story is Homer's move to the personal assistant.
Yeah.
But in the B story where Marge and her charity friends decide to shoot a calendar a la, I think the movie's Calendar Girls or potentially The Full Monty, the only reason she ends up having racy photos is because she got drunk and the photographer took advantage of that and used those photos in the calendar.
Yep.
Which, and you mentioned that the whole even though they're slutty and Bart's getting teased about it at school and everyone's going, oh, look at your mum in the calendar, oh, it's amazing. Nobody seems to mind. Normally Marge would have a moral outrage about
There's
that.
not a point.
Well, yeah, Marge especially, yeah.
Yeah, and there's clearly photos within that calendar that you can't show to screen. So that obviously gets pretty racy.
It was a big subtraction for what Marge usually is, which is the uptight, goody two-shoes prude. But even when she goes to church, and I think that's the qualifying factor, is everyone at church is empowered by her sexuality.
Yeah.
Even though they're all holding the calendars out the front of church.
Which is
With their
also-
kids around and just, acting really pervy and gross, and around children as well.
That felt like it was going to go a very different direction for a while there. That it was going to be trying to stop this calendar thing, maybe as a metaphor for internet something. And
But no, it was a way to give Marge the impetus to want to engage in
which was one of
adult
many
behavior.
Simpsons did it moments where they've done this before, where Marge gets breast implants.
Yeah.
So-
What?
There's an episode.
What?
Yeah, Marge accidentally gets breast implants. It's a modeling
I know
contract.
I'm going to regret this question. How do you accidentally get breast implants?
They meant
Yeah,
to give
she
it
goes
to...
in for a tummy tuck and he gets her confused with the mayor's mistress.
Yep.
Good lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an episode.
But yeah,
slightly
and unlike
terrifying.
in that one, Homer's not up to the task in this one, and I don't know, he felt like really off point in this episode as well.
As in, there was no point for him to care so much about being Carl's assistant.
No, and he seems good at this job. That's not Homer.
I know.
No, and he didn't like do anything untowards or screw anything up as
No.
the whole Homer job. Like there's a lot of complicated tasks that normal Homer wouldn't be able to do.
And they could have put that together quickly with being, well, he's my friend and I want him to succeed, maybe, or just something. Because why does he care? Why doesn't he just screw it up like everything else and go home?
But no, they were just kind of doing the Devil Wears Prada. And
Yeah.
I think they literally just took the script out of that and changed all of the
Pretty
names
much.
to
Yeah.
their character names.
And being something, I wouldn't say expert, but person.
You could be an expert on the Devil Wears Prada. That's fine.
No, I was going to say on chick flicks, but even then, it's a terrible movie.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I've also seen it for reasons I can't explain. But yeah, it's also
I did it for research.
Yeah, I did it because I couldn't get off the couch. But I think this is like one of those other another fictional story in movie/TV where there is the reason that the female character may commit or is tempted to commit adultery is not because she's sexually attracted to somebody else, but she's been forced into a corner because of the actions or inactions of the man. So if Homer was pleasing her in a husband and wife relationship, she wouldn't have cause to accidentally become attracted to Ned Flanders. But because her whole hand's forced in that direction, like she wasn't responsible for the photos or the calendar or the attention. Homer's not responsible for, but then Homer's responsible for not paying her enough attention and satisfying her libido. So therefore, when he leaves for Paris, she's almost coerced into, coerced by the script, into adultery. Which is like, at no point is it put upon her that this is her choice that she's making.
It removes her all her agency.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which I find three kinds of bullshit, frankly.
Yeah.
Because it's many seasons before this, but the episode where Homer and Mindy?
Yeah.
Like that was him in a conflict of interest and a crisis of conscience, and he had to make the decision, tempted one way, loyalty to the other, and makes that decision at the crossroad. But for this, it's basically, she has a moment where she's like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, you need to leave. And that's exactly when Homer turns up and goes, I love you after all, baby, let's go upstairs and bump uglies.
And it wasn't like them resolving anything, and you just think, oh wow, well, if the reflection hadn't have hit the frame of Homer and Marge on Ned Flanders' glasses, then that was the thing that stopped Marge from doing it. Like, that's so weak.
Yeah, and exactly, and the thing that saved that marriage was Homer quit his job and flew back from Paris, knowing the consequences, whereas Marge did nothing. Didn't like she didn't
moments away.
She didn't have a moment where she's like, "This is not wrong. You should leave. I'm going to wait because even though I understand my husband's busy and all these other things, that's why this is happening. It's not a normal scenario. It was he had to quit his job to save her from ruining their relationship because he wasn't paying enough attention to their relationship.
Right. Yeah.
For what, all of a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even a long time, and I've not seen Marge in that kind of like sexually aggressive position before. So it's like she has one episode where she's like, "Oh, I am sexy after all. Make love to me, homie." And Homer's like, I worked 100-hour week and I've taken us to a romantic location, but I'm just too tired to do anything. And she's like, "Oh, well, I'm disappointed, but not. I understand you're working 100-hour week, and this is a fucked up scenario, and I can, we can deal with that." It's like, oh, well, now I don't feel appreciated when the whole town is literally appreciating me instead.
Yeah.
It's just a really easy trope to go into for making the girl have a possible scenario where she might go off and be unfaithful, but it's not any of her. No. It's not her choice. It's just this is where she's been pushed to.
Yeah, and the episode also led to some really dark moments, like. And the stupid fantasies. We'll start with that. The stupid fantasy with the car race at the beginning.
Yeah, they dream, okay, now Carl's in charge, we can go to have a mini car chases throughout the entire power plant, and the whole sequence just goes for too long. And
I spent like 30
is this an ad for Mini or something?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a gag for the Italian Job.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't.
No, and God, the other fantasy ones, Homer with the guys trying to start the boat as a metaphor for
his engine's not running.
Oh, there was some dark stuff.
And the guy kills himself.
The guy wraps the motor cord around his neck, drops the boat motor in the water, and goes flying with it.
So maybe you could explain that a little bit more. There was a bit where Homer and Marge get into bed together, and Marge is raring to go, and it goes into her head, and you can see she's got a giant cruise ship called the SS Libido, and there's shirtless guys throwing coal into the boilers, and she's like literally raring to go, and then it swings into Homer's mind, and it's a guy, like a Jewish dude, or maybe a Brooklyn guy.
It's the droopy dog voice.
It's that guy, the droopy dog voice guy, sitting in a little tiny Apple motor boat where he can't start the boat.
Well,
so he instead of starting it, he just pulls the ripcord out, ties it around his neck, throws the Apple motor off the side of the boat, and goes into the water. I was literally like, holy fuck, what was that?
Yeah.
I was like, this guy killed himself in a terrible, terrible way.
And the other suicide joke where Rod and Todd, because Flanders had gotten accidentally hit in the head by a croquet mallet from Marge. Where did those croquet mallets come from anyway? Rod and Todd were like, oh my god, we were worried that you'd die and we'd have to live with Uncle Kenny and his weird friend David. And then Flanders goes, oh, I'd put rocks in your pockets and throw you in the water before that happened.
And walk you into the ocean.
Jesus. Yeah, walk you into the ocean.
What was weird is before that there's a reference to a Dr. Sheldon Lowenstein, and I researched it. The first hit is Facebook, so I didn't click it, and the next two are just Simpsons quotes. So it's like, is this person famous for something or not?
Well, I don't know, because there was the Marge's Fear of Flying episode where she goes, whenever the wind blows, I'll remember the name Lowenstein. My name is Zweig.
But it feels like it's a reference to something, but I can't find it. And,
maybe it's just a internal Simpsons reference to anyone doctor.
But that's what it feels like. It feels like a reference to any doctor, but it's not a joke I get. And we've watched a lot of these episodes.
So, look, in the start, there was at least a few jokes and gags I liked peppered throughout. I liked the, great ocean view behind this sign. That's just
there were a couple of chuckle moments. I did really like. There were a couple of. There was when Carl gets promoted, he gets the executive washroom key. Like what Homer did when he got promoted.
Yeah, that was a good
I
throwback.
thought it was a nice little bit of. I don't know how intentional of canon that was. Much like. Marge gets told she has a butt that won't quit. Which I feel was a canon reference.
Actually, and also that was a really good gag where she went, I heard that your ass isn't hiring, your pants aren't hiring because your butt won't quit. That did make me laugh, that's true.
I want to believe it harks back to the love postcard Homer sent Marge, which is, I don't know if it's the beer talking Marge, but yours is a butt that won't quit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was.
There
was a weird moment, a weird dick joke where Marge is getting her photos taken by, was he Mexican or a Cuban?
I think he's meant to be the Puerto Rican, Cuban, Mexican.
Yeah, there's one of those guys, and he's taking the photos, and Marge takes her hat off, and her hair shoots up in the air like her hair does, and he goes, "Ooh, pop goes the chupacabra." I was like, that's weird. Like that. This whole reference. It really feels like this whole episode was aimed at adults.
Yeah.
For just, like, they were trying to be a little bit South Parky.
And people that know who chupacabras are.
Well, doesn't everyone?
I've established from yelling it repeatedly that I know you don't.
I know it's a mythical dog beast from Mexico.
That's because I told you that.
Well, I know what it is. It doesn't matter how I know.
Our parents...
Is that what it is?
Our parents' next door neighbour has this weird dog/baby that makes this weird noise, and I keep saying it's a chupacabra.
Mexican dog beast.
We can't tell if it's a dog or a baby.
Right. Ultimately, what this episode is doing badly is the characters themselves. They're not. It doesn't seem like Homer and Marge, and quite frankly, it doesn't seem like Flanders because they didn't really need much coercion into wanting each other.
They cooked dinner together, and he got a little bit wet from a accidental spraying from the sprayer and the dishwasher thing, and then suddenly they're both like, well,
it's the kind of idea when writing you go, all right, we do something like that, but not that because that's just way too obvious.
It's the placeholder they didn't replace.
It really felt like this was maybe written during the writer's strike, and so writers couldn't write on it because they were on strike, so the guys who weren't actual writers got to write an episode for once, and they went, well, It's better than no episode.
Yeah, they left
And also,
this
can I just? I've got a note here that I really feel like I need to make. There's a part of the episode when Marge is trying to coerce Homer into having sex, and she goes, "Well, maybe these will convince you," and opens her top up. And instead of showing her boobs, it showed Carl's face on each boob, and they talk to him, and he goes, "Why won't you two leave me alone?" I think I've been scarred by that emotionally. Yeah. That was not what I wanted to see. I didn't want to see animated boobs. No. I didn't want to see Carl's face on animated boobs.
That has maybe ruined boobs me for 8 seconds. Yeah. I mean, I'm past it now.
I got to get on the internet.
But I think I wrote that down as like going, this is weird. That whole episode I sat through going, this is weird.
It's really off. It feels like a Aliens idea of what a Simpsons episode should be.
Yeah, it's
the pieces are all there, but they're not put together correctly.
No, there was no, and I think you're right, Elliot, in saying there's no character in that. Like none of the characters behave like the characters that we know.
Yeah,
Homer's competent and a slave to work, and doesn't do anything reckless or dangerous or
stupid
or fun.
Hilarious.
Even
hell, he gets the names of all the people at the meeting correct.
Yeah, and then he blackmails Carl.
Yeah, I kept expecting there'd be a joke there, like.
Yeah, and the only stupid thing he does is when he's feeding Carl the information, and he goes, "Oh, I've been to the Louvre, and I hear it's closed on Mondays." Like, that was the only stupid thing that Homer did.
But
like that gag, by the way.
It went through as a nice gag.
And also, just to let people know, the Louvre is closed on Mondays, so don't go because you will waste your time.
Zing.
Go on the weekend; it's half price.
But the other bit that I hated in that section was Carl, like, the woman's hitting on him, and she goes, "Oh, let's go make love," and he goes, "Oh, my assistant will do a sensual dance for you."
Yeah,
what?
That came out.
And then
of
Homer dances around with a handkerchief for like half a second.
And he dances around well, and other people appreciate it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's none of that made any sense. Like, that would have been easily the time Homer went, "I can't dance. I've drank all the free champagne, and I'm in my underpants on the chandelier." Like, that's Homer, not this guy wearing a suit being. Like, it seems like it almost seems like they got money from the marketing department for The Devil Wears Prada to write an episode that exactly reflects their movie, and then to release that, because I don't see any other option for it. Like, to write so away from all their characters, to make it unrecognizable. Like, if you had not put their names or their faces on those bodies, you would not know this was a Simpsons episode.
Absolutely not. And Bart as well, like. It felt like his little thing was going somewhere where all the kids in his class were like, "Oh, your mum's hot," and like he's defending her, and then he gets sent to the principal's office for pushing Nelson.
He's like,
and then
standing up for yourself. Where are you, Bart?
And then they're just like, "Oh, well, we better make an appointment in our calendars," and they just get pervy over that, and that never goes anywhere either.
Yeah, I felt like that was going to be the story for a little bit. This pushed Bart into some kind of.
Yeah, that could have been a bit where Bart's become more rebellious than normal because he's...
Because his mom's being objectified,
Yeah, but not even Marge cares about the objectification. No. It seems it seems like that's really a thing that Lisa would have been all over in other days. Like, she's the staunch feminist women's rights thing, so she would have either been appalled by her mum doing this thing to centralise men, or been 100% for it because it was her choice. But also, it wasn't her choice. She was drunk.
It not being her choice, but at the same time being completely beneficial. It was a very weird mid.
Yeah, it was like there was a thing that served the story in all ways because it was explored in no ways.
Yes, that's a very good way to put it, I think. Covering all bases by not even looking at them.
Yeah. Covering all bases by playing football. All right. So, do you see yourself watching this episode again?
I kind of wish I hadn't watched it just then.
All right, we'll just shoot.
I will.
Yes?
Because I'm just looking at my notes. There was I wrote Bob's Burgers did it. Do you remember which?
The dice. Because they do a gag with romantic dice where one dice has a body part, the other dice has an action.
Yeah, and they've already done that in Bob's Burgers where they roll it. It says, "God damn it! It says lick feet again. I'm not licking your feet again."
And then Linda's like, "Oh, come on, you got to do what the dice said. Lick the
why?
Foot." And then goes, "No, I'm not gonna lick foot."
So that my only other note was Simpsons did it for the Flanders bit where they kind of in the harpooned heart had a Homer's ignoring me kind of sexually attracted to Flanders bit, but not in the same way. And this was just such a blunt instrument over the head kind of way of doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Even that isn't a strong episode, but at least that's just like Marge is writing a novel, and it's not cheating on Homer with Flanders was not anything
It's
she was
cheating
ever
with a
going to do.
fictional Flanders, and it was more the idea of it rather than the actual real life of it. So,
This is the fantasy escape.
yeah.
Yeah.
In which, Flanders becomes this fictional character in this novel she's writing, and Homer kind of figures out from that he hasn't been paying it proper attention to it. So it's a similar kind of theme, but instead of getting to the point where they're sensually eating strawberries, but also really badly sensually.
That was weird. That was like a good 45
And it went on
seconds
for
of
a
cartoon
long
characters
time.
eating whipped cream dipped strawberries.
Yeah.
And did it bother anybody else they didn't like de-nib the strawberries first? Because in
Yeah,
the
no,
bowl,
She totally
They
ate
had-
several stalks.
Yeah.
they ate the whole strawberry. They're just like, yep.
Again, this
I'm like,
was
oh, that's
Alien's
gross.
idea of sensuality. Like, you eat strawberries, correct?
Yeah, it sounds like that could have been written by like how like the early zombie movies and horror movies were funded by the church. This seems like it was like a church-funded thing. It's like,
idea of this is what
if
sensuality
you
is.
potentially ignore your spouse and get
Yeah.
attracted to your neighbor,
It's,
you too will eat strawberries with the
It's,
stalks
it's
on
the
them.
Reefer Madness version of strawberry.
Yeah,
eating.
it's Plan 9 from Reefer Madness.
Okay, we're writing that.
We don't need to write it, just do it.
So the wackiness of this episode, I don't know that it was a particularly wacky story, but just it was.
It was whacking the was not the characters
Yeah.
behaving as themselves.
Yeah, but I don't think there was any actual wackiness in it.
No.
Like, the things that stand out for me was a terrible car race dream sequence.
Yeah.
The guy committing suicide on the boat.
Yeah.
And Flanders saying that he would kill his children rather than have his uncle adopt them. That's the wackiest part of it. There was no slapstick. There was no running around.
Well,
And
it wasn't fun wacky. It was these aren't these people. What the fuck is going on?
it was
wacky.
odd. It
Yeah.
was Invasion of the Body Snatchers wacky.
Yeah.
And so, on the other side of that, the heart, and even when Homer and Marge resolve, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of heart behind it exactly.
No,
It's more
because they go upstairs and you just see the picture frames bang off the chimney. And then, for some reason, two dogs kissing in a collapsed doghouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really poorly built doghouse.
Also, dogs don't kiss. What? They should be looking at each other's butts or something. Weird. It was just
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
doggy first base. I think I'm going to go sniff her butt tonight. Whoa.
Just go up there, dude. Sniff a butt. What you going to do? Say no?
So we pretty well covered it, but it didn't feel like an episode of The Simpsons. The
No.
integrity was off.
Written not only by aliens, but aliens from another dimension.
Who did write that? I didn't notice it.
Yeah, I was actually going to check that
Yeah,
out.
that's
Apparently, this had a negative reaction in France for its
Depiction of that
Sarkozy.
guy
Yeah.
and his like more than hot wife.
Carla
But-
Bruni. Who?
But Sarkozy does have a hot wife.
Yeah, no.
And also, he was ousted from French politics for having for having orgies with potentially underage girls in tow.
Orgies. Wow.
Yeah,
I think they were called bango bongos. Bunga bungas, something like that.
You listen to it like, is this?
There was something
actually
where you
happening, or is
there was
this one of-
something where you heard it and you went, well, that makes sense for the French
Yeah,
president.
it was like, is this a weird parody of France that's going on right
Yeah,
now?
France is making fun of itself through itself.
Like the French president, whose wife has posed nude for Peter, has been, removed from Parliament for having orgies with 49 models. And
Yeah, but it was because one of them was potentially underage.
yeah.
It's not the 49 model orgy.
No, but it was
it's
still the moment
one
of
of them.
you just go like, there are so many layers of confusion. What? Is this just you just?
And
Get
so the
this?
French didn't like this episode solely because of that.
I think it
three-minute
was.
interlude.
The Sarkozy and his party hated it. The media loved it, and they were running it. And anyway, this is one that I wanted to do for bad episodes. One that we perceived bad was: is this reputation justified? And this episode, from most commentators, got a mixed response, an average of C+ from the AV Club.
AV Club.
Yeah, it's not too far off where I'm going with it, but a mixed reaction sort of still
Do we
seems a
know?
little high.
Does it say who wrote that?
Tim Long. He didn't seem to have any other episode credits, and
Interesting, Tim Long. Who are you?
he's currently developing something for Molly Shannon on HBO.
What's your deal, Tim Long?
Also, who's Molly Shannon?
Are you a lizard covered in human skin?
Anyway, Tim Long, that was a shit one, dude.
IMDb gives it 3.5.
That's more than I'd do.
That's more than I would do as well.
All right, well, unless you had any other quotable moments, I think it's time to rank this thing.
Now, let me have a quick look at my notes. Now, my other note is, you may not be at your beck and call. It's like, that is fucking terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
what
not,
was it a
it,
gag
that's not
for?
what it is it? It's beck and call,
No,
right?
I used to think it was beck and call because that makes sense, but it's actually beck and call.
I thought it was, yeah. But also then, is that a reference to the mid-2000s sitcom Becca?
No,
I'm on your Becca call.
no. Who would do that?
All right, time to rank this thing. I'm straight up giving it a failure. Like, I think even though the good jokes at the start could probably bump it up to a participant, I think the fact that Homer and Marge and just everyone really are so off point that, yeah, I can't give it in good conscience anything higher. How about you, Phil?
I'm going to say 3 good jokes in the first 2 minutes and then nothing for the rest of the episode is a complete failure for me.
Yeah.
If there was anything lower, is there like a cumic D zirconium? I would give it that. It was, I'm sad, I'm the worse off for watching that episode.
Yep, absolutely. Beej?
Yeah, I think we got another unanimous. I had a couple of chuckle moments, but I think as soon as the episode ended, I said to you, you know that time when the only reason you laugh because you know you're drunk? It's that. Like, that's the only reason I had any chortle at all. It's so far off the characters. And again, why have the whole, like, homage to Devil Wears Prada? It's pointless. And it's just there. It's not even so iconic that you would definitely know it, you know?
No, and if they were going to do it, why not do it with Mr. Burns being Meryl Streep and
like, why?
And I don't know, even Marge being the Anne Hathaway character.
It makes way more. Yeah, that would be better because that pulls her out of her usual rut.
Yeah.
She gets exposed
Also,
to
that
a
would
new
make
life,
sense.
and maybe she wants to leave home. And that is a better storyline, and you just did it while wasted on a couch.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, it makes sense for Marge as well because she'd like work really hard at it. And
Yeah, she would be good at it. She'd be hard at it. She'd be appreciative of something outside of the home. You just wrote a better episode than this fuckwit, and you took, and you know, we've been drinking since, 8.
Yep.
Which is about 4 hours.
All right. Well, yeah, that about
Failure.
That about does it for the Simpsons episode tonight. All unanimous. A gold and a bronze and
Has
a...
that ever happened before?
We're all unanimous. We are too convivial.
Beej, me and you on episode 2, we were all unanimous, and then and then last week with Shayna and Jordan, we all agreed on everything again.
Wow.
And yeah,
And sometimes when you know.
no, totally. Well, anyway, thanks for coming back again, Beej, and Phil. Thank you for joining us for the first time, and
Pleasure.
I hope to have you back again someday soon.
I love to talk to a microphone, so anytime you're free.
Beer and microphones is a good mix.
And once again, for all the folks at home, where can they find Dave Plus One?
You can find Dave Plus One at our homepage, daveplusone.com, or on Facebook, Dave Plus One, or on Twitter or Instagram at @_Dave Plus One. That's PLUSONE.
Yep. And of course, YouTube itself.
And also on YouTube,
Yep.
which I can't give you the address of because it's so convoluted I can't remember
Just
it.
search Dave.
Just search Dave Plus
First,
One.
lowercase w, uppercase Q, 2 dash. No.
I think that's the first 4 letters, yeah. And
Yeah.
then there's another 30 to go.
All right, awesome. Well, that was a great episode, and thank you for listening at home, listeners. And I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and I'm not tapping out.
Yeah, you still haven't tapped out.
Try tapping out again. Thank you for checking out the Simpsons Index podcast. Don't forget to go to www.thesimpsonsindex.com for the spreadsheet and information about upcoming episodes.